Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me today is Alexander Scanlon. He is the managing director and CEO of Barton Gold. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: BGD on the ASX and BGDFF on the OTCQB. And Barton Gold will be presenting at the upcoming Precious Metals Summit Beaver Creek, happening September 12th through the 15th, 2023. For more information to see the Barton Gold presentation and meet Alexander here, please go to precioussummit.com. And with that, Alexander, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing well. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. This is actually our first time doing an interview together. So can you start us off with a quick overview and history of the company?
Yeah, like Barton Gold is an ASX and OTCQB listed company. So we listed on the ASX 2 years ago in July 2021 or the end of June 2021. And we've just recently listed on the OTCQB following some very strong investor engagement in North America. The company is a pure play gold in South Australia focused company. In South Australia, we have the world famous Gawler Craton. And in the center of that, we have the central Gawler Craton. On the eastern side of that, we have an IOCG province, which BHP Billiton has now consolidated through the purchase of Au Minerals. And that's sort of on the east side of a highway. And on the west side of the highway, there is a 130-year-old high-grade historical gold producing district. We've essentially gone in and consolidated every significant historical producing and exploration asset there. We're rationalizing that. We're dramatically upgrading the geological knowledge and building new regional models. We've got about 5,000 square kilometers of tenements now, or about 1.25 million acres. We've built a 1.3 million ounce resource base. We own the only gold mill in the region, which is very powerful leverage for us to start our stage one operations. And we are very well capitalized. So we have somewhere around $13 to $14 million of cash and gold in concentrates, which we actually produce from our mill.
Very good. So, I mean, you kind of answered my next question here a little bit, but for those who aren't familiar with the model and how you're going about consolidating the region in South Australia and to explore these various projects, what would you say makes how you guys are putting this whole package together unique and different compared to other folks out there or some of your peers?
I think one of the key differentiators for us is that we really took sort of a first movers approach to reconsolidating an historical district. So we did this at a time when we had a very strong view on gold. We had a very strong view on South Australia. But the market for those assets in particular was kind of very overlooked. And so what we were doing, rather than just sort of going in and buying a specific project or specific deposit, or building a deposit near somebody else's mill, we've acquired essentially all of the milling infrastructure in the region, and we built a broader package. And the idea is for us not to necessarily rush that mill or any one project back into operations, but to step back, take a bit more of a comprehensive view, basically infill the sort of the past 25 or 30 years of technical work that maybe wasn't done in this particular region, as people went off and focused elsewhere with a lower gold price and more excitement in different regions. So take a step back, really build the broader platform necessary to actually turn this into a multi-million ounce platform. And I think our approach there is driven, one, by a combination of R&D, two, by a lot of experience with our board and management team, building, financing, and operating really large scale sort of generational companies, particularly in gold and in South Australia. And one of the things that does make us unique is we actually really function more like asset managers who happen to be operating drill rigs. So we actively monetize our assets, which is a very unusual thing for an exploration company. But we rent camps and villages out to private and government entities. We make very full use of tax credit programs available to us in R&D and exploration programs. And we actually extract and process concentrates from our mill through subsequent stages of review. So we've actually generated over $5 million in non-dilutive net cash from these sort of special projects that has supplemented our treasury. So it's a kind of more institutional approach to the way that we're going about an exploration and development project. But we will then hopefully culminate in leveraging the existing infrastructure into, say, stage one operations, with a much lower cost, much lower risk approach. That, of course, requires much less dilution for shareholders, and then use that to expand into our 5-year objective of producing 150,000 ounces per annum and becoming South Australia's largest independent gold producer.
Very good. And Alexander, what's your background prior to, I'm assuming, were you a founder for Barton Gold? And if not, what was your background prior to it?
Yeah, so I was the founder of Barton Gold. So my background is basically real assets focused work, so real estate and metals and mining. I am an economist and a structured financier by sort of education and background. So I was working I grew up in the United States, worked there, worked in structured finance in Europe. And for the past 15 years, I've been based in Australia, focused exclusively on resources and resource-related enterprises. So combination of corporate advisory and principal investments. And in 2016, I took over the management of a sort of a multifamily office. Barton Gold was sort of one of the strategies that was spun out of that investment strategy. And as we started doing some of the early work there, sort of in a manner of speaking, every stone we turned, we were finding more structure and more gold. And we realized, okay, this has the potential to be something really quite significant if we put in the time and focus. So I then stepped into Barton Gold from there and have been running it ever since.
Very cool. All right. So to close us out here today, from what you can tell us, what would you say are those 1 to 2 things that you want investors to really pay attention to for the company now moving forward, the rest of 2023, going into 2024 a little bit?
Yeah. Look, I think one of the key things for us is we really do have quite a unique platform. So, there are a lot of mills out there that are old mills, but they're not actually kind of recently operating mills and capable of being restarted cheaply. So we have a mill that's on care and maintenance. It was operating in 2018, and it was processing ore from our Tarcoola project. So we have fully permitted mining leases, fully built mill, fully licensed mill that's capable of restarting, and in a really simple step into stage 1 operations. And we're now focused on essentially infilling the mineral resources required to do that. So really unique platform, obviously with very strong treasury management performance, which should be key for all equity market investors. And then 2, progress. If you look at our 24-month public track record now, if you look at our ASX announcements, you will see every single month we are putting out something very significant on multiple fronts, both on the exploration and corporate development side. So people will be able to follow what we're doing with very active reporting of what's going on and see that we're actually generating real value and advancing things on multiple fronts consistently. That's been the case for the past 24 months, and it's going to continue to accelerate as we go forward. We are expecting to put up multiple additional resource updates again. We had quite a large one earlier this year. We're expecting to put further resource updates by the end of this year and early next as we continue transitioning back into an operating company.
Very good. All right. Well, with that, Alexander, where can our audience go and find more information on Barton Gold?
www.bartongold.com.au is our website, and we have a very full investor section there, including we generate a lot of sort of organic media content. So you can go to, obviously, ASX announcements is the sort of home roster of announcements, but we also have a media page where we have a lot of interviews like this. We have footage from sites so investors can actually see with their own eyes what it looks like where we are. We are in very open, broad, accessible ground. It's not, battling through mountains. We have all of the state infrastructure running through and around our project. So it sort of makes it a lot easier to understand the region in which we're working and the sort of ease with which we're doing that. So certainly encourage investors to check that out.
Very cool. All right. Well, Alexander, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. And I look forward to our next update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.